In the days of slavery, the white master used to put blood on we. Still today, in modern society, we taking blood from master and the slave driver. See big eye corruption, putting blood on we. Lack of transparency, putting blood on we. Partisan partiality, putting blood on we. It is clear the nation can see that master and the slave driver putting blood on we. Apache blood, Dominica under pressure taking blood. Nothing but slicks and tricks and party politics, a set of blood. People under pressure cannot take it anymore. It's fight for power. What citizens taking blood? Open your eyes and you will see that's Massa and the slave driver putting those. Whoa.
In the afternoon time, it's 1:01. If you're a lottery player, try to play that number. Huh? But just make sure you give me a percentage of 101, okay? Dominic, good afternoon to you and welcome. Welcome to the Talk on the Block. And if it's on the block, we will talk about it. This afternoon, of course, we have two former foresters speaking to the debauch issue. It's not going away, right? Let's do this and come back. Keeping in that mood, huh?
I'm letting it go, though. Taking this weight off my chest. I've been carrying it around inside my heavy coat. I've been swallowing a bitter pill stuck in my throat. Away, left me in the rain. I've been feeding on the fire of this endless pain. Down the stone at the bottom of the hill. I'm letting go of anger now into your holy will. Forgiveness is a prison where the walls are made of pride. I'm opening the heavy door, stepping out outside. Oh, sweet relief. You forgave my mountain of 1,000,000 heavy debts. You washed away my foolishness and all my deep regrets. So how can I hold on to what my brother did to me? I'm cutting off the bitter root and planting a new tree. Oh, but I'm laying down the stalk at the bottom of the hill. I'm letting go of anger into your holy will. 'Cause unforgiveness is a prison where the walls are made of pride. I'm opening a heavy door,
Welcome back.
stepping out.
After this, a word from our sponsors.
Lord, we lift up the listener who is carrying the heavy burden of betrayal tonight.
When you want the best, you do shop at SCA. Better than the rest, go shop at SCA. And the young and well, say shop at SCA. You get more for life, they say shop at SCA. Shop at SCA. Yeah, shop at SCA. Shop at SCA. What they say? Shop at SCA. SCA's family, customer friendly. With free locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, that's where you belong. So tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCA. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCA. Auntie, and cousin, friend, hope and power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, hope and neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCA. Shop at SCA. Oh yeah. Shop at SCA. Shop at SCA. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and Downtown Rose.
Political power is about to change hands in Dominica. Jim it, it's your turn. The United Progressive Party, alongside political leader, attorney Joshua Francis, and solid playmaker Loftus Dumont. Solid lineup of speakers will be at Estridge Drive near the Convenient Plus Shopping Center, Thursday the 14th. Jim it comes alive from 7 p.m. Come hear the plans and look for a better Dominica, a better you. The United Progressive Party, the party of the people, by the people, for the people. Come out, Dominicans, join the forces with the United Progressive Party as we help rescue and restore, even bring back Dominica from the brink of abject destruction. 7 p.m. on Estridge Drive near the Convenient Plus store. Everyone will be in attendance. Don't miss your moment. Thursday coming, power must change hands. The power is in your hands. All the way with the UPP massive whistle stop from Jimmy Thursday the 14th.
I'm not giving up.
Today I never give up before. It's not in my
Transform your meal with the superb quality that is found in Robert's product. Become a master baker with bubble crease shortening. Add a touch of love to your food with sunflower soft luxury spread. Perfect your bread with glow spread margarine. Add mellow cream, that tastemaker flavor to all your gravies, soups, and stews. Robert's, for the love of cooking. Distributed by Fine Foods, the biggest distributor of the biggest brands found in Dominica.
Great things happen when we crunch together. So crunch and share the love with KFC's bucket together. $45 gets you 6 pieces of chicken, 2 fries, 1 corn, 1 biscuit. With KFC, there's always chances to win big. 3 winners, 3 destinations for an all-expense-paid trip with Sunrise Airways, St. Martin Carnival, St. Kitts Music Festival, and Lucian Carnival. $1,500 spent in cash, hotel accommodation, event tickets, and ground transportation. All you have to do is purchase a bucket together. Write your name and phone number at the back of your receipt and drop it in the drop box. KFC's finger licking good.
All right, Dominica. I want to say welcome to my guests this afternoon. Last time I spoke to one of the guests, it was many, many years ago. 10 years ago? 10 years? Not 10?
2018.
2018. I thought it was 10 years ago. What, almost 2018, like
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
I think you had another reason to come back in the studios today.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Let me introduce my guests. Allow them to introduce themselves. You'll find out just whose voice that is, huh? Good afternoon, my brother. How you doing, mister?
I'm giving thanks.
Giving thanks.
Good afternoon, Matt. And let me say good afternoon to you all. Q95 listeners locally and out there everywhere. It's always a pleasure. It's always an honor. It's good to be back, in the studio.
Good to be back.
We've had some discussions, but on the phone. But
Yes.
It's good to be back. And really, it's good for me to come here to talk and give solidarity to Janelle and Gary and Brisbane and Nasio and everybody else. It's a long list.
A long list.
It's a long list of team, who are concerned about what's happening in Debosh. And like them, as a former forest officer, I am very much concerned about the operations at Globomir, and I think it's just good to be here to talk about it as well.
All right, can I allow you? Haven't said your name yet, Mr. Durant.
True.
Yeah, you realize?
I thought you said Mr. Durant. So. Well, Stephen Durant,
Okay.
and it's good to say that I'm a graduate of ECIAF, like Jackie as well. We're two graduates from ECIAF. We're two lucky forest officers to be part of the
ECIAF.
that's Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Forestry.
Okay.
That's at our time. That's what it used to be, but I think now it's a new school. It's UTT, right? Yeah, University of Trinidad and Tobago, something like that.
Okay.
And I think as an individual who worked for 4 decades in forestry.
4 decades.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's it's just fitting that I share my opinion, my views on what's happening, in the deep wash operations, and not just deep wash. It's what's happening to forestry. Currently, what we're seeing going on in forestry. Yeah, after all these years, giving all your hard time and all your energy, your commitment, your passion, build passion for this, and you're just seeing this, unfolding in the wrong way. So I think it's good to be here.
All right, Jackie.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon to you.
Just happy to be on the program, probably just to share my views and actually to really give the support to Janelle and Gary that I've worked along with. And not to give any controversy, but to to look at it, in a objectively,
okay,
and to see how because I think that a lot of things that are happening is because people are not aware of the reason why certain, like for example, protected areas
they're ignorant of the facts.
I think it's ignorance, and the people who probably put forward sometimes the proposals are not aware of the what the steps that needs to be done. And what I think they need to do is to communicate more. I think communication it's very important. And if you're going to do a project, the basic step. If you're not a technical person, then try to find some technical help to be able to deal with whatever projects that you're dealing with. And I think that's the problem when people when you do a project and you do not communicate with the public, with the people, then there are lots of assumptions, there are lots of confusion. And so before you do anything, and especially those environmental projects, it's really good to find out what's happening on ground. The people around, the communities around you have a lot of that background. You need to get that, and so you can do all the mitigation measures and all the things that needs to be done to make it a solid project.
Okay, let's of course hit the ground running as usual. We don't have so much time this afternoon there. Let's talk about the protected areas. The wash is in that zone, Mr. Durant.
Okay, protected areas on Dominica, it's in 2 categories. You have national parks, Mont Diablo, Cabrits, and Montoapito. These are, and the forest reserves. We only have two forest reserves: the Central Forest Reserve and the Northern Forest Reserve. So the Northern Forest Reserve is one of the areas that will be impacted, in the proposed project. So protected areas take up about what 30% of our land mass. 20%. Yeah, and Matt, really the thing is that I think too, we do not appreciate what we are. Dominica is referred to as the nature isle, and it has to do with our topography, our terrain. We have about right now more than 60% of our natural vegetative cover. Which is better than every other island within the Caribbean region. For a small country. And the attributes from the natural state of Dominica is what really drives potential for us to be, the nature isle and to do a lot. We can do a lot in terms of tourism. Yeah, that is what tourism is based on, And so I think it's we understanding what we can do within the land space, the limited land space that we have, in terms of our development, what kind of development we can do. And we have to be very careful because we have a lot of mountains, natural drainage areas, and that's why we have so many rivers and so many waterfalls, and the biodiversity that we have is different to a lot of the other Eastern Caribbean islands. And so we have to learn to appreciate that. And that is why we have a lot of people coming to Dominica. And most tourists who come to Dominica is like, wow, they're so amazed about what they're seeing. And I'm not seeing our local people appreciating, what presents on Dominica.
We have another major project, a development project, meaning the international airport. We all have learned about that. Now, the other side is suggesting that we need Dave Wash for the rocks to build that international airport. I just want to be straight and objective. Do they need Dave Wash for these rocks, or we can go elsewhere?
Matt, we heard all of the arguments and the discussions, on this matter. We need the airport. There's no reason for us not to want the airport. And persons like Jackie and I who traveled, extensively during our tenure at Forestry, and the difficulties and the hassles you have, in traveling. There's absolutely no reason. And there's reason for us to have it in terms of our development, to continue with our development.
Right.
Many factors, many reasons for that. And so we need the airport. Nobody should want to stop the development of the airport. There's no need for that. But it's what we're doing. And as Jackie was, alluding to earlier, is what we do in terms of, developing projects. What we knew in forestry before we're seeing what is unfolding now is that there was a process. You understand? And I mean, the physical planning is there as well. There's a process that you have to follow. And that is what needs to be done. And we're hearing all of these discussions that the bush was never, in the fore. It was never listed as an area earmarked for, extracting material for the airport. And there was a recent video you all had going around with the permanent secretary, physical planning, in a discussion with.
I have that video.
I was there. I was part of that discussion as well. And what I learned from this discussion is that there is not the need to follow procedures and processes and regulations. Is that there's something that needs to be done, so we just have to go about, and it is referred to as the type of development we're now,
right,
faced with. That there's no need to to look at procedures. And I was told so in that discussion. There's no need for us, which is wrong. What we know is that documents would have, the project documents would be, communicated formally with forestry and what other departments that the government departments that they need to for these documents to. And those documents would have to be reviewed, and you advise cabinet through the minister, the permanent secretary, through the permanent secretary accordingly. And so I am even hearing that forestry does not even know anything about
so
this
the question that needs to be asked, though, you guys were under one era. What has gone wrong with forestry at this time? Why are they allowing these things to continue? Why?
Matt, I try to,
I'm not asking you to bash your colleagues in
no,
forestry.
I try to come here not to see,
Uh-huh.
what
What is
what I think
what
is
is what is
what
what
I
is
think is happening, because
what is different?
debauch is not the only issue.
Right.
Debauch is not the only issue. In recent times, we've seen. I was here earlier. The parrots
Right.
that was done outside of the norm,
Mhm.
the regulations, the laws that set aside, to manage those kind of activities or decisions. We saw carburetors, for the development of the hotel. We saw the People's Park, the cable car. The cable car forestry was not informed about that development, and the whole saying about this thing was, go ahead and do it. And if, it means that we'll lose the status of the World Heritage Site, we'll lose that. So this debauch is just another issue, in what is going on. And I think it's just a case of disrespect. It's a case of manipulation. Decisions just come from above and not the protocol, the set protocol.
They don't follow protocol.
That, I'm telling you, that's what it is. Forestry, to me, the way I knew it is we would sit and develop programs and schedules, every unit in forestry annually, and you work through the quarters throughout the year, with your programs. I am not sure that is what is being done now, because a lot of what is going on in forestry it just comes from above. Somebody just called. Imagine their WhatsApp groups. They have WhatsApp groups. When I was in forestry, and there are certain people within the ministry that are in those WhatsApp groups. When I was in forestry, I could not go to the ministry and work related and say anything or do anything if it is not through my supervisor, the supervisor to the director to the permanent secretary. And you have WhatsApp groups with supervisors in forestry and persons they're supervising, and somebody will call an individual that, the supervisor is supervising to instruct them to do this and do. These are the kind of things, Matt. It's just chaos.
It's like Viking.
Yeah, it's chaotic. And it's not only forestry, it's every other government department. And the way that these people, permanent secretaries, are appointed, on contract, and and persons who are ahead of this is not what we knew. And that is what you expect with this kind of structure.
Hence what's going on in J-Bond.
Of course, that's what you have. When there was a project, Matt, that forestry had to be involved in, the documents for that project would come to forestry, the director and the senior staff, and if anybody else had to be engaged in reviewing those documents, they would review it, and advise cabinet through the permanent secretary, accordingly. If they were to see that you should do this or you should not do that, and that is what it is. And with this activity in debauch, they're supposed to do an ESIA. It is an obligation. Only when the SIA was submitted just lately, you understand, and work going on, which is wrong.
Jackie, you're somewhat disappointed with what you've seen going on thus far with Devon?
I am to a big extent because, first of all, trying to figure out, as you said, he said the branch had nothing to do with the airport. If you have a project of that nature, one of the first things you would do is, where do you source your materials? What are you going to? What are the mitigation measures that you're going to put in place? Okay, if we decide we go into the branch or we go into whatever part of Dominica, then a proper document should have been in place. As I said, communicating with the communities around, because that's going to affect the livelihood. It's going to affect habitat. It's going to affect every aspect of it. Because mining is something that's slow, but so in many cases kind of irreversible, some of the damages that's going to be. So it needs to get like a lot of thought need to go into that. What are we going to do after the whatever happens at the Boash? Are we what trees we going to plant? What, a proper system. So I'm a bit disappointed that we did not see that kind of activity going on, and that many people didn't know. In fact, a few people who visited the island and said to me, Andre, what is going on? I said, what is going on? I didn't know that before all this story came on. I said, no, probably they just, he said, but can't you see what's happening? There's a big chunk of land going. And until Janelle and, no, what's his name? Gary brought it up and said, but, something is wrong. Why weren't we aware of it? I think, and as I said before, if people are aware of what's happening, they understand the issues, then they will not make assumptions. So everybody's just making assumptions. Some say it's mining, some say it's for the airport. So why all that confusion? It's because we did not have a proper plan. And I think for a small country like Dominica, where we have to create that balance because of our whole nature, we are very mountainous and all that. We need to create that balance. I know we need a lot of development or some form of development, but how do we balance that by not destroying the very thing that matters to us in terms of all the forests, so protected areas for soil protection, for water, for livelihoods, for so many things. For that's so important to us that we don't take it seriously. That hence my disappointment that we don't take time to do things, and we're not communicating. So one ministries wants something, they're fighting with environment, they're fighting with this. No, it should be together. We all want the same thing. So why don't we communicate and put something that's going to last, and that's not going to just be temporary, because we are looking for, I think now we are just looking for quick fix. That's it. Yeah, we need the international airport. We need yeah, of course I want the international airport. And as Jura said, I don't want to be traveling and I have to take how many planes to reach Dominica, miss my flight. Yes, but it has to be done properly, and that's my disappointment. It's the way things are done, and
But I
that
heard
we're not thinking.
I heard the prime minister saying the wash can be built again. In other words, you would take the rock off, and then let's build back the wash. Is that possible?
We cannot. We have to, and I heard somebody talk about. We have natural disasters and we come back so quickly. Yeah, nature takes care of itself. But once humans interfere with nature, it's very difficult. Sometimes it's irreversible. You took up the topsoil, you go so deep. There's so many examples of that in other parts of the world where those mining operations are done and they were supposed to replant, but things are not going back. It takes a long time for things to go back. But when you have the natural disasters, it's only about taking up the leaves, of the trees that it doesn't necessarily interfere with a lot of the soil and all that. So nature might those natural disasters kind of reshape certain things. They will not give you exactly what they have, but they'll give you something different, but something that you still have some vegetation, you still have something to protect you. But those big holes and those all that thing every time
It will never come back.
Matt,
it's not going to come back the
Matt,
same
let
way.
me
It's not
let
going
me
to come
tell
back
you.
the same
I mean, Jackie's just saying it very light, but disappointment, is an understatement, to what is going on right now in terms of the way that we're treating the environment. You understand me? Nature has its way, as Jackie said, taking care of itself. If you go to Syndicate now, we're going on what, 9 years? 9 years after,
Hurricane 9.
right? Let me tell you, you will not believe that we had a hurricane. I was in Syndicate a few days after, not shortly after Maria. And I could stand one area and just see through the forest and, mountains clean. You go to Syndicate now and you'd swear that we did not have a hurricane just recently.
That's
So
right.
nature has to take care of itself. It knows how to take care of itself. It responds there's immediate response after, but when there's human interference, it's totally different. And we should not be even talking about that. I am hearing people who know better talk about, natural disasters and hurricanes. What is intended for Debosh, now with human activity and human behavior, is going to be totally different to a hurricane or, a light storm coming in. And the thing is, Matt, in Debosh, when you disturb Debosh, it impacts on what we planning to do, what we want to do, the tourism product that we know you. We're there promoting. Jack is not working with tourists. I'm in the field. I do forest ecology and biology, and I am specializing in birding and so on and nature experience. And the amount of tourists I work with coming from some of the key resorts in Dominica and asking me about what is going on in Debosh. They saw it, and sometimes they get involved in discussions at some of these resorts. They're concerned. They're concerned. And the thing is about Debosh was never in the picture. And the quality of the material they're looking for at Debosh, they can find the same material elsewhere. And there's no need to destroy Debosh because, that's the only major watershed that the Kalinago territory people have left, that they can enjoy clean, good, water with strong volumes. Look at all the other, communities within the territory. All of the streams and the major rivers, the water level is very low. The only major area that these people have, and you're going to impact on the aquatic life in the streams, also is going to impact on the marine environment, So it's not just the river, it's, what's going to happen to the marine environment as well. What's the reason for destroying the forest reserve that was established? I heard O.J. Serafin, former prime minister, on one of the Stadium programs. He spoke about it, and he said that he was the Minister of Agriculture when the Northern Forest Reserve was established, And it was established for a purpose, for a reason. They worked hard at establishing the Northern Forest Reserve. Now we've seen that they're going to destroy it. What is the reason for that?
Let's take a statement there, of course, from a former forestry officer that went viral recently. Listen.
I would like to advise that we do not get carried away by electoral reform. I share that opinion because of my extensive involvement in the electoral process.
I think I had picked up the wrong one, but we'll come back to that. We'll come back. Let's share the PS in agriculture.
Where the issue is that they are already within the Northern Forest. So they stopped it. So exactly. So they stopped it. But all of this does not have permission. So this currently permission from physical planning.
And which physical plan?
Physical planning is the physical planning division.
And why is that necessary?
Because that's what the law says.
Because the law says that. What's the issue?
The issue is that they are operating without permission, which makes this an illegal project. That's illegal. Because they don't have any authority or any permission under the laws of the civil government to operate at this site, which necessitates that they have.
Read the law. Read the law.
So
in other words, what you're telling me, that a national project is like that's what you say.
What you mean, like, no, all mining operations have to have approval from the physical planning division before they can commence any groundbreaking activity. That's what the law says. And actually, it's not just permission. They have to submit about 10 different documents, including a map of the sites, an environmental social impact assessment.
This is the authorization given to them. Proceed. We hand you over the site.
That's no. That, according to the laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, which we have to respect, law and order is essential. that this
My
site is
dear.
operating
My dear.
outside of the laws of the Commonwealth
When
of
you leave
Dominica,
here,
and
when you
so
leave
is
here,
an illegal
Let me
operation.
tell you, when you leave here, I want you to make a decision. All right?
I want you
You
to
want
make that
to, you have
decision.
to make a decision
Okay.
as to whether you hijack the government system for processes
I'm not
that are followed
hijacking.
you do not know about.
I'm simply
You should
following
ask for, you should
the
ask for
government.
direction.
I'm
Government has followed certain procedures. The
But
only
they- but
problem,
then
the only
we-
issue is that the public was not aware.
No.
The public is not aware.
They are operating
You are
against
not
the laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica.
You are hearing
The same way I told you that they are currently within our parks, and you didn't want to believe that they are within the Northern Forest Reserve, and Forestry just confirmed what I said. It's the same way I am
No,
also
but I
trying
am
to tell
asking you
you.
the same question. What is the issue?
The issue
What
is
is the
that
issue?
the issue is
Uh-huh.
that they went within our protected
So
site
what is the
without
issue?
any authority, without any permission, and that they are
And what's the
operating.
issue?
They are operating the site without
What's the issue?
any
You mean to
authority
tell
or
me that
permission
a
from the
developer
government.
and a contractor just fall in the hand of that? That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that they are acting against the laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Dominican people.
Dominican people make the laws.
Of course.
I didn't know that.
Of course, the Dominican people
I
make the
thought
laws.
it was Parliament who makes laws.
And the Parliament are Dominican people. You cannot have a Parliament making laws for the Dominica
and
without
the
Dominican
Parliament
people.
is the Dominican people who make the laws.
But of course.
So and let me ask you a question. Did the contractor and the developer just show up here and do?
Well, that's all that we need to know. All that we're asking
So that
for the
is what
information.
I'm telling you. The only issue that is there is that the public was not made
No.
aware of what
The issue is
Parliament.
The issue is that
and
the
the
law
government of Dominica
stipulates
done.
that they need to have permission to be able to operate at this site, and they have no permission, which means that this site is illegal and it is operating.
Who determines something is illegal?
The law determines the law. What? So does the law not determine if something is legal or illegal?
I don't know the law is a person. The law is rules.
These activities depend on
Who is this person?
Set
sorry?
procedures.
May you introduce yourself to me?
Set procedures. All I'm saying, and here my last statement, the procedures that were followed associated with this site was not made public. That's all I'm saying.
May you introduce? Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
You said
They're going to reverse. You need to come up
Sorry.
on this side.
you're saying something that they were not made public.
All right, Dominic, we heard the rumble that going on there. With you were there.
Matt, I was there. I was part and parcel, and I contributed this discussion. It did not end there, you know. It went further than what you were just hearing. And I was able to gather myself and calm these guys down. These guys were so furious. They were beginning to get eager. And I just calmed them down and said, guys, let's try and have a very
civil discussion.
Yeah, sober ourselves, you know. You're talking too loud, relax, you know. And I began talking about the set procedures that we need to follow. The same set procedures he's talking about for, you know, for such development projects that needs to be adhered to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the important things that happened was one of the engineers on that project, I asked him in the presence of the PS and the other individuals that were there. I asked, you all are saying that Debosh is the area you need to get the material from. Tell me, let me know if the material that you require to do the work on the airport cannot be sought or sourced elsewhere. You know what he said? I said, does the material elsewhere and Debosh meet the same the standard? He said yes. It can be sought at Krapu Hall, at Ansdimi and Koryo. I said, so well, if you can source it elsewhere, why destroy the Debosh area? Why? What's the reason? You know, one of the other guys who was there, I don't want to call names, but you heard this talk before.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if the mountain have to come down for us to get the material, we only need the place for 2 years. Bring the mountain down. And I just turned my head, and then the discussion continued a little bit, and I felt that, I did not want to continue this discussion. I walked away. I just walked away. And these guys were just furious. The other guys were there. These are party, stooges. These guys were just fuming, and I say, wow, these guys are really determined. But Matt, other than that, this is what I am seeing. This is the kind of confusion. This is the kind of madness. This is the kind of dotishness. Yeah, that we have. And these are the people who are holding key positions, in government administration. You're hearing it from them. And it's not the first time I saw this. This gentleman, after Maria, I remember that when we were doing project planning for within the Ministry of Agriculture, for agriculture, forestry, and fisheries. This same man was just an employee in the Prime Minister's office, and he was attending the discussions. And he insulted one of the agriculture, plant protection, former head of plant protection. He came with an idea. I can agree, Matt, that you want to bring farmers back into production. You're looking for ways and means to hasten, the processes, and to allow people to come back to doing things. But of course, you have to understand there must be systems in place. You have to look at things, the way you need to look. You have to ensure that things are right. So he came talking about, they will have to source plants from outside of Dominica, and some of the places he started mentioning, we can source plants. The former head of plant protection told him, no, he would not agree that we get this planting material from those areas. You know now they're discussing, they're going crazy with this yellowing and the coconut.
Yes.
These are the kind of, and he insulted the young man in the presence of the PS, the permanent secretary, the acting permanent secretary at the time. And I couldn't believe it. Then there was a point in that same discussion that I told them, yes, we want to help, to bring back production, but we have to understand the wildlife have lost their habitat, they've lost their food source. So we need to look at how we're going to assist farmers and how we're going to structure, the approach to getting back into production. It cannot just be giving planting material and supporting farmers to go back and plant, and you do not have systems, for example, to safeguard the crops. You know what the PS told me? He watched me and he said, Duran, when we get to that point, when we get to that bridge, we will cross it.
So they're crossing the bridge right now.
And you know what, Matt? I was so disappointed that he did not even ask what are some of the things that we need to do. We would want, we should do. But obviously, the animals lost their food source. What you put in the ground, depending on what you put in the ground, is not for the animals you put in there. And exactly that happened. Farmers were putting back cabbage, putting whatever, yams. Agoutis just start eating everything. When farmers start coming down on me in forestry, you know what I was telling them? Go to the ministry and go and look for the permanent secretary and tell him that you're having difficulties.
So your point is they're not following protocol.
No, man, there's this guys just doing, they did not want to sit down and have. Matt, we should have had it was an opportunity for us. You went to school when there was slate, right? The slate.
No.
The slate. Huh?
Maybe that came maybe.
Well, it was a time for us to clean the slate nicely and start over, and look at all the systems that we need to put in place to support production and everything else, and do things right. But we were just busy, and I never went back to another meeting, and after that meeting, I stayed away. They gave me material to review. I reviewed it from my office and stuff and hand it over to them. But
Jack, it's obvious that, these guys, as you said earlier, are not following protocol, hence the confusion, right?
I think that's it. And I'm very surprised and very shocked at
when
what's
you heard
going
that
to be. Of
confusion.
course, because I mean, systems are put in place to avoid that kind of chaos, and to make sure there's law and order and things are done, in the correct manner.
Hmm.
I mean, so if I want to do something, I'm not. I mean, what he's saying, let us that he gave permission to. I really don't understand. It's kind of confusing because those systems are in place for as guidelines so that we can protect the very, as I said, the very things that we're depending on. We're called nature island, and if we don't follow those protocols, what's going to happen? And I must tell you that it was because the former foresters, before like Mr. Maxime, had a vision for Dominica. That's why we're being called a nature island. And they started the national park systems and all the other systems. And based on that, we are now benefiting because then we can have the user fees. People are coming and seeing what nature has to offer. I know there needs to be a balance because we have to feed the people, but we cannot lose our common sense and speak that kind of
But
language.
Matt, coming back to this thing, this was the reason why a stop order was implemented,
Right.
was issued. It's because they did not follow the procedures. And then you have all this chaos when the ESI was submitted long after, which the ESI was supposed to be submitted ahead of any commencement of any activity on site.
So they're working back to front.
But this the ESI that was supposed to inform planning how they're going to do this project, what is going to be done, and what needs to be done.
How it's going to affect
yeah.
the communities.
You understand me?
Kind of thing, and what mitigation measures that you will need to take, because I mean things will happen. I mean, you're gonna do a project of that nature. There's going to be some form of damage, of course. I mean, you expect that. But when you do those studies, it kind of gives you the guidelines or the guidance to say, okay, if I do this, this is going to happen in terms of the water quality, in terms of habitat destruction, in terms of soil loss. How am I going to deal with those issues? And essentially, that's what we need to follow, basic procedures. And I mean,
That's the reason why, Matt, you have to, the laws requires that an ESIA is done before the project is approved. And that is what will approve the project, is the ESIA. And that wasn't done. And imagine, Matt, the ESIA that was submitted. I saw part of my work that I did for other projects in that ESIA. We did an ESI for a project, and it was for World Bank sponsored project, and then World Bank had a request for certain formats for the information to be submitted, and the way we did it, I saw that in the ESIA. So they just cut and paste. So they took it from the information from, and they just fix it up to put in the data that they wanted to include in it. That just tells you kind of this madness is going on with this thing.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We don't have too much more time. I think it's about 11 more minutes. We're caught with time this afternoon there. So
problems.
let's take a quick break. I know you have a lot more to say, but
Well,
time will not allow us this afternoon. Let's take a break. We'll come right back, Dominica. This is the Talk on the Block. Yes.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Mocha Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunblast juices, Topper Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Hardware and home improvement, building supplies for you, kitchen appliances, even home decor too. Lumber, lawn, all your garden supplies, plumbing, welding, electrical supplies.
Visit Do It Center at the former Jane Asset Hardware location on Goodwill Road. Call us at 255-6890.
We have a few voices just before we wrap it up this afternoon. You know, everybody's calling the telephone. Time is of the essence here. Ça va faire.
Ça va bien? Ok. Peut-être dire quelque chose. Ça qui fait c'est quoi pour là? C'est quoi pour là qui a fait toin en tête moun là? Moi comprends c'est bagay ça fini ou ça marque. Mais actuellement nous n'avons j'ai quoi pour kahele en tête nous penrise. Ma oui moi tu es dé avancé. Il est tout ça un peu coco à bocaille là. Tout en zèbre là en jardin. C'est bagay ça quand il fait tout en tête mon nan nuit les moun ka dormi. Et là où est soleil chaud pas ka ouais ou pas ka tan yo mais là où l'application tomber c'est là yo commence à jouer mauvais.
You want to give a quick response to that?
Yeah. You know, I'm just laughing, you know, because at the time I was still in Forestry when this issue of the Cuban tree frog, you know, got into play. And, you know, again, is the sort of regard that we had and we continue to have for our environment and what's happening to our environment. When these animals were discovered, you know, Forestry should have been given all the support that they needed at the time to put the population of this, you know, invasive frogs, the Cuban tree frog, under control. One of the areas we had an issue was at the development, the construction of Kipinski Hotel, and when that's one of the areas that we, you know, they brought in material for landscaping, and some of the containers were infected with this species and several other species. When the forestry department went there to work, you know, to try and see how they could put this matter under control, Kipinski management called the permanent secretary.
Really?
And told them that Forestry is coming, you know, on the on site to do whatever. And so they would be happy if these people do not show. You know what? The permanent secretary, instead of trying to deal with management and tell management, okay, this is a problem, and maybe the project could help with, you know, providing support to see how we can put this problem under control. You know what? He called Forestry, the director of Forestry, and told him to ask the forestry staff to stay away from the site.
Really?
Yeah. And so you see what it is now? That is what we have in MAT. I tell you, disrespect, manipulation, and just disgrace of all the hard work that Jackie said, Mr. Maxim and everybody else had set in this country for proper and sustainable management of an environment and our biodiversity, our resources.
Let's go back to the day brunch, of course, because of time. A lot of phone calls coming in, but again, because of time. Let me take one call and we'll wrap it up there. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Be quick. Thank you.
my blessings, Mr. Durant, blessings, the lady there, blessings.
Yeah.
Things have changed so drastically and diabolically, devilishly. Matt These guys want Dominica to be a mining ground. Dominica, they said that they find there was gold and there was copper and whatever years ago, after and everybody stood up. These criminals went overseas, make the children overseas, all the thing is overseas. Dubai, Babai, Rely, wherever they are. And Matt, they don't give a damn about Dominica. And I want to give thanks again to Mr. Durant, Matt, for his efforts through the years. And some people are too scared out of their skins. They yet to stand up against these demons and say, this is the nature island. And that is why I'm standing, Matt. I love that place. I used to be in the interior for many, many years, cultivating marijuana, Guadeloupe, Matnik, guns, all kind of madness. And I watching them and destroying Dominica, Matt. And that is the intention, to destroy that country, because they want it to be a mining and a dumping ground for the Chinese, bringing all the cheap and inferior good and mining every mountain, looking to see if they get rare earth minerals. But time to fight, blessing.
All right, so our final comment here, and maybe we're going to make a quick comment before we wrap up. We need you back, because of time, but we're going to invite you back here because, guys, you're sharing a lot of...
You need to come back, man. You need to come back.
Very soon, very soon, yes.
Before I leave, I just want to say...
Before you make your final comment, somebody's asking to ask you guys if the poor environmental ethics also contributed to the biting mangers we now have in the plague. Are they disturbing the ecosystem? Where did they come from, and why are they not taking this thing serious?
This is a matter beyond me.
The biting mangers?
Yeah, this is a matter beyond me. I think that should be addressed to the plant protection and animal disease unit. The people in there.
Okay.
Because this is another unit, Matt, that has been demolished. The work that these people were doing to control disease and all of this,
Really?
But the young man that was head of the unit, he's now employed somewhere else in the Caribbean. They pressured the man to the point where he had to run away and find employment somewhere else.
What's his name?
Laville.
That's it.
He run. That's what a lot of, Matt, I am just concerned about young people. And young people should be taking note that there is not any path for them for aspirations, for being independent and to do something, to have a career. A lot of the people who are taking up positions have to disappear. Look, the young lady at physical planning, she's now employed somewhere else.
I know that well.
The young man who's there, I mean, if he do not watch himself, and he will be soon, because if he does anything or say anything that they're not in agreement with. This is something and then in the public service, the people who have built capacity, they're informed, they have experience, waiting to take up a position, and they just see other people just come in who don't have they do not have the capacity like them, and they're not. Sometimes they themselves have to help these individuals to do the work. That's the kind of foolishness.
Our final comment there from you guys. Should we leave Debosh alone? Leave Debosh alone?
But of course, there should have never been any discussions on Debosh. Man, what is going on in Debosh should have never happened. Not at all. There should have been other things. Why didn't they build a trail from the road to Man Peak, which is further away in the forest? Mm-hmm. It's one of the strongest strongholds, habitat for the imperial parrot. The birding sector globally is $1 billion industry. These are the areas that you can go and see the parrots, and birds. So many people are coming to Dominica just to come to see the parrots, to see a fufu,
They're still alive? I haven't seen
the parrots.
The fufus, I haven't seen them in a while.
Well, the fufus are doing, the hummingbirds, they're doing well.
Okay.
With the exception of one species. I mean, maybe when I come back another time, we can talk about more.
Let's talk soon. Anyway, my dear, can you have your final comment before you go? I know we have to rush you. Yes.
But I just want to say that, if we make those rules, we need to follow them. And when I say, as I said, creating that balance, we need to, they're set in place because of reasons. And if we want to keep our nature island as it is, we need to follow those procedures.
Yes, you're going to make a comment.
But Matt, what I really wanted to say really is, I think Dominica needs to be regarded, and we need to look at closely what can drive our, economy in Dominica. What we should give priority to.
What are the
And
alternatives we have besides TBI, right?
Well, I didn't want to talk about that. But what I'm saying is agriculture, forestry, tourism, physical planning, land and surveys, and this all of these sectors should have within the same ministry. These people should be working together, right? They should be working together. They should build a complex for them in the gardens instead of putting all this what we're hearing, all of these allegations or whatever. Build a complex to house, because most of these people, agriculture and land and surveys in a facility down on the highway Goodwill.
Yes, I mean,
tourism is in a building,
I'm hearing some stories
physical
about
planning is a lower amount, Bruce.
You have to bring them together.
Bring these people together where they can sit and talk to each other to drive, ideas and recommendations to do better for us so we can have a stronger economy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Duran and Jackie. Thank you. Our next stop with the Dominica Social Security. I'm hoping you guys will be back soon. A lot of spicy. Yeah.
YouTube. When we know to rebuild mountains, let them know.
It's breathing sweeter now. The sky is turning clear. There is no room for condemnation. There is no room for fear. Your mercies are brand new with the rising of the sun. The heavy days of yesterday are paid and fully done. Your faithfulness is greater than the deepest, darkest sea. And the morning light is washing over me.
To change hands Gibbet, it's your turn. The United Progressive Party, alongside political leader, attorney Joshua Francis, and solid playmaker Loftus Dumont. Full lineup of speakers will be at Esprit Drive near the Convenient Plus Shopping Center, Thursday the 14th. Jimmy comes alive from 7 p.m. to hear the plans and look for a better Dominica, a better you, the United Progressive Party, the party of the people, by the people, for the people. Come out, Dominicans, join the forces with the United Progressive Party as they help rescue and restore, even bring back Dominica from the brink. Destruction, 7 p.m. on Esprit Drive near the Convenient Plus store. Everyone will be in attendance. Don't miss your moment. Thursday coming, power must change hands. The power is in your hands. All the way with the UPP Massive Mississauga and Jimmy Thursday the 14th.
Sweet, sweet mercy, I'm resting in the light of
Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy Drink, and of course, Sunblast Juices, Toppers Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill Juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do pay. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension, secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. social security. It put you know.
All right, Dominica, we're here. Let's talk Social Security. This is the talk on the block, where we educate you on the Social Security. Again, we're here with the Social Security for the full hour. Don't you worry, we'll take your questions after the first half an hour, okay? We have to keep you educated. Let me allow my guests to introduce themselves at this time. Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you? Good afternoon to you, Mr. Peltier, and good afternoon to your listeners.
It seems like yesterday you were here.
Excuse me?
It just seems like
Yeah,
yesterday.
time flies, yes. Augusta Sitting, Deputy Director, Dominica Social Security. Happy to be in the house to interface with your audience.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to the listeners of Q95 FM. My name is Kamasha Lloyd, Marketing and Communications Officer at Dominica Social Security. And as usual, it is our pleasure to be here every other month to bring you the information concerning Social Security, to educate and to inform the listening public.
So today, what is our focus?
So today our focus is on the self-employed and the informal sector. As you know, in Dominica, we have a lot of persons employed in the self-employed sector, persons working for themselves. They don't report to any employer. They are their own boss. So anybody who is involved in that sector also has an obligation to make contributions to the Dominica Social Security in order to protect them, so that when certain events happen to them in the future or while they are working, they can get a benefit from the Dominica Social Security.
Okay.
So most persons who are in that sector, they work for themselves. As I said, they control their own terms and conditions. Their work is not integrated into the work of any other business or reporting to an employer. So persons who fall in that category are usually vendors, bus drivers, farmers, fisher folk. We have housewives. We have lawyers and doctors who are in private practice, musicians. We have hairdressers, barbers. So we have a number of persons who are employed in that sector. And this is a growing sector, as we know. And more, we have a lot of young persons opening their own business, working for themselves, owning their small business. And even those who are working online, those we refer to as platform workers, they are employed online working for businesses out of state or in the US. They work at their home remotely. These persons are also referred to as self-employed and persons who are in the informal sector, for which they as well are required to be protected by Social Security.
How do you determine what is the payment cost self-employment? Like, okay, let's say you find a vendor and that vendor has to pay Social Security. What is the formula that you use to determine cost?
Okay, so Social Security, everything is based on an earning. You pay contributions on an earning and you benefits as a percentage of the earnings on which you pay contributions. So in the case of the self-employed person or the person who's engaged in the informal sector, because they probably may not have proper records, when they come to us to register or to sign up to pay as self-employed, they have to make a declaration to us of how much their earnings are. So they give us an idea of how much they make on a good day, when things are good, when things are not so good, in between. And we arrive at an average annual earning, which constitutes the basis on which they pay contributions. In effect, they are the ones determining exactly how much they pay by the amount of earning that they declare to us. So the vendor will say, when during the tourism season, I'm making so much on a given day. When things are getting towards the end of the season, it gets down to that. And given that I only operate for so many months in the year, we kind of arrive at an average.
Yeah.
An average that would constitute an annual income for them. And they are charged a percentage of that annual income, and that constitutes their contributions to the system. So they determine how much they pay. And the point is, they are not being charged the amount of earnings that they declare to us. It's a percentage of the earnings that they are required to contribute. Sometimes they tell you, I cannot afford to pay myself a salary. I'm not getting anything. But the intention is not necessarily for you to be getting a salary every month, but for you to protect yourself against certain things that can happen to you. So I like to tell them, imagine you running a business for many years, paying your workers, paying Social Security for your workers, but you're not able to pay yourself a salary. And God forbid something happens to you, had a major surgery that you stay down for 3 months, 6 months, and you cannot go to your work. But because you're paying contributions as if you're making a salary of, say, $1,000 a month, for the 3 months you're down from that surgery, Social Security will pay you $600 per month for the 3 months you are sick. And imagine you're not getting any money when you're working, and now that you're sick, you can get $600 from Social because you're paying contributions as if you're earning $1,000. So it's always a win-win situation for you. Once you pay Social Security, the benefit always outweighs the contributions that you have to pay.
So what about if the person is making, say, $3,000?
The person
and you don't know, but they're reporting to you that's what they're making.
So when they come forward to sign up to pay, we engage them in an interview. And what we encourage them and try to help them understand and appreciate is that they need to declare earnings that closely approximate what they actually make, because the earnings on which you pay the contributions are the earnings on which you're going to receive benefit tomorrow. So if you're used to making an earning of $3,000 and you're paying contribution of $1,000, when you pay your benefit, 60% of $1,000 is $600. That's nothing compared to 60% of $3,000, which would have been $1,800. So they have to understand the relationship between the earnings on which you contribute and the earnings on which you get benefit to determine exactly what is an adequate level of earning for them to pay contributions on that will make sense to them when we pay them their benefit as a basis, on the basis of that earning on which they pay contributions. So tell people, do not just declare earnings for declaring earnings, but declare earnings that closely approximate what you're used to living on, so that when you get the benefit will make sense to you.
Another question I just want to ask you. Let's say you've been working for 6 months, and then you're not employed for the rest of the year. What is your solution to that?
In what sense?
In the sense where
you are self-employed and you're working for 6 months in the year. Okay, so contributions are payable on earnings that you make. So when you're not earning, you're not required to contribute. So you can be exempted from contributing for the period you're not working. But you have to inform us, because if you don't inform us, we expect you to come and pay. So if you have a difficulty and you realize after this first 6 months, I'm not going to be able to operate for whatever reason, you inform us. So we do expect contributions for the other 6 months.
Okay, I see some people having some problems in fact that they're not working and they cannot access a Social Security card because, as you said, they had to inform you before.
Yeah. So the idea about the card you're referring to now is another issue again. A lot of people are requesting our cards. They come in to get an ID card because they want to do some transaction somewhere. But our cards that are ID cards that we issue to all and sundry, those are cards that are issued to bona fide registered contributing members of Social Security. Whether you're contributing as an employee of somebody else, as a self-employed person in your own right, or as a voluntary contributor. No, as I said, you are required to contribute as you work and earn. So when you're not working and earning, you're not required to contribute. So some people sign up as self-employed many months ago.
Mhm.
They started paying and they stopped paying, and for many years they have not paid a black cent. They have a card because at some point they registered, and they want a card to do some business now. A person like that doesn't have status currently. Because you signed up as self-employed, you're supposed to be for yourself, and you have not paid for a while. In some respects, maybe you should not even have had the card to begin with, because if you're not paying, you got the card under false pretenses, basically. So a person like that who would want to get a card now to do something may not be able to access that card because their status was self-employed. They have to make the contribution payments. They're not making the payments. Then they ought not to have the card.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. Stick around.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do pay. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security. It would you know. Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do pay. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security. It would you know.
Somebody's asking a question here. Why does the financial institutions and other institutions say that the Social Security card can be used as an identification card? If you
Well,
don't know,
there is nothing wrong with them saying that, but that is provided you have one. If you have a Social Security card, because of what it is, what it represents, most places accept it as a valid form of ID. So they're not wrong to ask for it. But it's not everybody who goes to the bank to do a transaction will necessarily have a Social Security card, because it's not every Dominican who possesses a card. You have to be a registered paying member of Social Security for you to get that card to begin with, for you to be able to use it as an ID. So a person wants to open an account at the bank, and they go to the bank say, "Here's your Social Security card." I never had one because I never worked in Dominica. You will come and ask Social Security for a card, but we can't give you a card because you're not a registered member of Social Security. I work in self-employed. I doing this, that, and the other, and you get a card, and we don't hear from you again. So you just got the card to go and do the transaction at the bank, and you never turn back. You should not have had that card to begin with. But you've been working for many years, you have a card. Even if you're not working for them at the moment, because you have contributions in the system and you've been working in the past, you would have a card because at some point you were working and paying. So they ask for the as a valid form of ID, but we do not issue ID cards. So it's not everybody that can just come and request one and get one. The banks and them have to understand that as well. It's not every person that comes to do a business will necessarily have a Social Security
Well, don't you
card.
want to educate the financial institutions? Read this.
And who said
policy?
we have not informed them?
So why are they still asking?
They ask it as one of the things that they accept, and maybe they did that ill-advisedly without confirm. But we clarified with them when they told us that they wanted people to present their Social Security card as the main form of ID, that not everybody that comes to them will have a card. So I don't know what arrangements they make for people who do not have a card. That is something that they need to take into account, because we don't issue card to every Dominican, because you don't like the US, you get a Social Security number once you're born there. We don't do that here. You get a Social Security card when you become a contributing member.
So why don't you do that here?
Why what?
Why don't you do
Well,
it?
until we do that, everything is a process, It is not like that. No, it has not been like this, because Social Security is a national insurance program that is a contributory program that people must contributor to be able to get benefit from the system.
Mhm.
So the use of the card is a benefit that you can, as you can call it a what? An incentive maybe. If you have a card, you can use it as a valid form of ID. But more important than that is that you're making contribution into the system so that when you have a challenge, when you're not earning, you haven't got access to your income because of something that happened to you, you will get a cash benefit from the system.
Mhm.
So to me, it is more important for you to be able to derive benefits from the system by paying contributions than to even have the card just flash around as an ID.
I mean, anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, I wanted to add two things with reference to what Mr. Etienne said about the card. I wanted to again enforce that there are many persons, especially those in the self-employed sector, who possess a social security card, but they cannot access benefits as social security because, for one, they may have contributed once, registered and contributed once, or registered and contributed for a short while and never passed back. So they don't qualify to access the benefits that we offer. At Social Security, all the benefits that we offer have qualifying conditions. You must have a set number of contributions that you need in order for you to access the benefit. And so having the card is one, but it's more important again for you to have been contributing consistently, not just having the card, but ensure that your contributions are being paid to enable you to access a benefit when you have a need. And I also wanted to add that with reference to the self-employed program at Social Security, it is a very flexible program. And so self-employed persons should not be in a position where they are disadvantaged in contributing to Social Security because of the flexibility that the program offers. In that, the way self-employed persons work, there may be times they may make a good sum of money depending on what sector they are in. For example, you have musicians who may have gigs at various times, for example, maybe during the summer or during the carnival and so on, when there's a peak season, they may make more money than other times during the year. And the program is such that you could pay the full contributions for the entire year in one go, if you can afford it, yes. So if it's easier for you to just make a lump sum payment for the entire year.
If you're paying $100 per month and you want to give $1,000 for the rest of the year, that's fine too.
That's fine. So although it is required to be paid quarterly, we accept the payments monthly if it's easier for the person. If it's easier for them that they want to just pay the entire sum the year in advance, they can do that and forget about it until the following year. So there's a level of flexibility in the self-employed program that works for everybody who is employed in that sector.
All right. I'm going to ask you a very, I will quote unquote, but I need to ask a question because it surfaced in one of my programs this week. We've been having Chinese in Dominica, self-employed Chinese in Dominica, Mr. Augustus. And from my information, these people have been making a lot of money, lots of money in Dominica, and of course, not paying contributions, which is depriving Social Security from such funds. And, if you're looking to invest, we may need these funds. Why are they not paying Social Security contributions as self-employed?
So the self-employed program is mandatory just as it is for employees.
Okay.
But we, up to now, have been administering it as if it were voluntary. Because truth be told, if the self-employed person refuses to register and pay contributions, they are doing themselves a disservice. Anytime they make payment into the system has an obligation to them. If you make contributions because it's contributory, we owe you something. What we owe you will depend on how much you contributed, but we owe you something. So if you don't participate at all, we don't know you don't exist for us as far as we are concerned. So the fact that you're not paying contributions, yes, the system is deprived of contributions that it could make use of. But by the same token, when people contribute, we owe them something. And we always owe them much more than what we collect from them in contributions. So sometimes you have to make a judgment call.
Okay.
Whether in fact it makes sense to pursue a self-employed person to collect a little contribution from them when you have to end up paying them so much more in benefits. So if you choose not to participate, it is to your detriment. But it doesn't mean that we cannot enforce the law and force these people to by taking them to court if we have to. Chinese, anybody who is working for pay in the country is supposed to be paying Social Security once you're working for pay. And as I said, if you don't participate, we don't know you, we don't owe you anything. And if you participate, we will owe you something. And we will always end up owing you much more. So the fact that some people who ought to be contributing not contributing it's a problem for the system because it's been deprived of contributions that it could make use of. But
My
on
point.
the other hand, if you don't contribute, I don't owe you anything, whereas you can contribute and I have to pay you so much more. So those non-nationals who choose not to participate, well, if they are Dominican citizens because they live here, chances are they might be there for how long, God knows how long. But if they're here for a while working and they go back to their country, we don't owe them anything. So neither here. But what we try to enforce is that all Dominicans are protected. If they're working for those same Chinese businesses, that make sure they pay for those Dominicans so that they can be able to access the benefit in the future.
Somebody's asking a question. I think it's almost similar to what I asked. Is Social Security in trouble with the biggest project, even on island, which now employs foreigners as the majority workforce, who do not pay anything into Social Security, and having an economy who doesn't really employ much workers? What is the life expectancy of Social Security?
Life expectancy, Social Security expected to be there indefinitely, permanently, forever and ever, amen, until the last contributor gets their share of the benefits from the system. The system is expected to be there in perpetuity, indefinitely. So whether and for how long it survives is dependent on a lot of factors, how many people we have participating in the program, paying contributions, how long people are living, whatever. All of those things are factors that can affect, that can impact its sustainability. But the system in itself, but by the way it is designed, was meant to be there in perpetuity. And if we don't do things right, the sustainability of the system can be threatened. No, the system has a built-in mechanism that requires that it be evaluated, assessed on a triennial basis every 3 years to see what's happening and to make recommendations to ensure that it can be there indefinitely. So the actuaries come and they do make those evaluations every 3 years. They make recommendations, they make projections. We as administrators, the powers that be, as the ones who enact legislative amendments and stuff, have to hit those recommendations when they're made in a timely manner so that we can ensure that the system can be pushed back for as long as necessary.
We changed from 60 to 65.
Yes.
Do we expect any changes in the near future?
Well, as I said,
what the actuaries...
every 3 years the actuary comes and makes recommendations. As of now, the change from 60 to 65 was advised because of life expectancy. People are known to be living longer now, and people always take us to task because so many young people are dying. But while many young people are dying, you have also many pensioners who are living 95 and 100 plus. And the system has to take care of everybody once they made their contributions for as long as they are here. So we cannot think of the fact that plenty young people dying. We have to think of the many people that make it past 100. And when you start paying them at 60, 65, you have to pay them as long as they live. When they die, if they leave dependents, then you still have to pay their dependents. And we still have to ensure that our grandchildren that we have not thought of, when their time comes, they can get their benefit. So the system is expected to be like a revolving fund, continuing perpetuity. But for it to work properly and for as long as necessary, a lot of things need to be in place. And we know that right now, economically speaking, population dynamics and stuff like that, those are things that can threaten how long the system can be there for. So maybe at some point we may have to start looking at how we can incentivize people to have children so that you will have young people always working to support the pension payments and stuff like that. But these are things that the powers that be may have to consider at some point, as happens in some jurisdictions where they pay people or they support families when they have children up to a certain point, and that those children will be there to work and pay contributions in the future to support the pension payments to future pensioners and so on.
That's very, very interesting there. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. I see my telephone start coming. We still have about 2 more minutes before we open up the line. So stick around. Let's take a break. We'll come right back. Stick around.
Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do pay. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security. It put you know. Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do delay. Make sure they pay your social security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with social security. I said that. Social security. It put you know.
All right, Dominique, we're back with Social Security, educating the public. Let's go back to the marketing office at this time.
Okay, so Matt, I just wanted to, Social Security celebrated its 50th anniversary earlier this year, back in February. We turned 50, and for all this year, we're having a number of activities to celebrate our 50th anniversary. And one of the activities we are having on the 29th of May this month, we are having a health and wellness walk, and that walk is taking place May 29th from the Roseau Cruise Ship Terminal. That would be the gathering point of the walk, and to culminate at Champagne Beach. The walk takes place from 6:30 p.m. and there is a registration fee to participate
It's
in the
6:30
walk.
p.m.?
Yes, it's a Moonlight Wellness Walk. That is
Oh,
one
okay.
of
I
the
was
things I
wondering
should
what's going on.
mention,
Okay.
that we are doing it differently, and we are mounting a Moonlight Wellness Walk. That might be the first of its kind in Dominica as well. And this is taking place, as I mentioned, on the 29th of May. So it's expected to be a full moon weekend. And so we are taking the opportunity to have the walk at that time. Health and wellness is one of the things that Social Security is very passionate about, because we know that we need a healthy population to contribute to Social Security. That is one of the things that will ensure that we remain sustainable, and we need people to be working not only for Social Security, but our economy as a whole. And we are encouraging persons to register to participate in that walk. To register, the fee is only $25, and that fee provides you with a T-shirt. We'll also be providing glow sticks and armbands to enable that you walk safely on the road, as it's an
Okay.
evening walk. We'll also be providing water, and we have a little gift for those who are take the opportunity to register early. So the first 100 persons to register will get a DSS branded bottle. We have a registration form. Persons can access the form from our Facebook page. There is a link in the flyer. There's a barcode in the flyer that you can scan to access the form, and there's also a link where you can always contact our office to get information as to how you can register for the walk.
I was about to ask that, because not everybody has computer savvy.
Yes.
So you're going to walk into your office and
Correct,
register.
yes. And we're also inviting business places who want to register their staff to participate in the walk, and maybe they might want to sponsor their employees and pay the registration fee on their behalf. That can also be done. So the deadline for registration is the 20th of May, 2026, and we are encouraging as much persons as possible to participate in that walk. We will have some activities at the ending point, and so it should be a very interesting evening. So we encourage persons to come on board, join with Social Security staff, and join us on that health and wellness journey.
All right. Thank you very much. Can you take some questions now?
Sure.
Sure. There's a question here. Matt, ask him. So it's not you, it's him. So what about for someone who paid as early as 17 years? They were 17 to 36. So he has paid 17 to 36 years and not getting anything now because they're not 65. What happens then?
Okay. Social Security offers a range of benefits, and the benefits are triggered by the occurrence of specific events.
Okay.
You pay contributions while you are working, as you're working. You have access to benefits while you're at work now. If you fall sick, if you are get into an accident on the job, if you're a woman, you become pregnant, there are benefits that you will derive down the road when you become pensionable at 65.
Okay.
Or you become too sick to work again before you get to 60, before you get to 65. But it has to happen to you for you to get the benefit. So you could have contributions for 20, 30 years in the system, and you are not now working, and something happens to you sick, because you are not now working, you are not now receiving a salary, and you fall sick. You're not earning salary currently, so there is no salary to be replaced for you.
Okay.
But the 20-year contributions you have in the system are there for you to get your benefit later down. So when you get,
well, you can't get anything right now.
You know, you cannot. It's not money you can go and say, let me make a withdrawal because whatever. It's when certain things happen to you that affect your earning ability. So you have to become ill and you have to be at work earning for you for us to replace salary. You have to get an accident. You have to be pregnant, a pregnant woman who has to stop work. You have to become disabled. You have to attain the pensionable age, or you have to die for us to have to make a payment to you or on your behalf.
All right. Somebody's saying just to you again, I'll be in Dominique on the 27th. Where does the walk start? The walk. The
Where
walk
does
you're
it
talking
start?
about? Yeah.
It starts on the bayfront. So the gathering point will be the Rosa Cruise Ship Terminal on the bayfront.
Okay.
Yes. So the where the cruise ships dock on the bayfront under the canopy
What time?
there.
6:30 you said?
6:30 p.m. the work starts and we end at Champagne. Just after Poinisha.
So you gather the bayfront and you end up in Champagne at 6:30.
Yes.
All right. Yes, the Social Security is still located on the bayfront. No.
No. Our office is located
on Hanover Street.
Hanover.
Hanover and Hillsborough Street.
So close to Flow.
Close to Flow, yes. Dominica. Okay. Let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Master, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear, sir.
Okay, because I'm not hearing you. Anyway, first of all, I want to commend Social Security because they always keep people abreast with what's happening in the country. But I want to ask them one question. Can you hear me? Yes. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people want an identification card. It's true that they may not be assigned to some job or an employer, but it can be a revenue form. Why can Social Security amend the law to give anybody who upon proper identification their IDs, and they could make some money? 1,000 persons is $20,000. They could make that money. And secondly, I want them to tell me if you have 2 daily paid workers, 2 weekly paid workers, and 2 monthly, can you put that on the same form in reporting, or you have to have it on separate form? Thank you.
Yes, the contributions are paid on a monthly basis. You pay the person daily, weekly, fortnightly. You make the payments on your payment dates according to the pay frequency that you agree with your workers. But the payments are to come to the office by the 14th of the following month. So you include on the same form, but you have to tell us what the payment dates are. If it's a weekly paid person, you have to indicate how much was paid for each week, and you put the lump sum, the total for the month, and you pay the total contributions at the time. And the monthly paid person is one entry you're making in the final column. The monthly wage is so much. For the weekly paid person, it is so much per week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. But you add the weekly amounts and you get a total for the month on which you pay contributions. It's something that could probably happen down the road where maybe you will decide you're going to just issue the card. But as our system is now, when somebody registers, which is at which point they are able to receive a card, that is a statistic that we have to use. You register a person, the person is registering because they are now gainfully employed, and you expect to get contributions from those persons. So when you register, sign a person up to give them a card, you have to differentiate who is really working and from who you expect to get contributions and who is not. But at the end of the day, because the card indicates that you are a contributing member of Social Security, you will expect to have an expectation that Social Security owes you something down the road when all you had was a ID card that we're using. So get the other IDs that are available otherwise. Anybody can get a passport once they made the qualified one. But Social Security, not just to have an ID, but you have to pay contributions to derive benefits at the end of the day. So you're not saying that it cannot happen, but for the time being, we're not issuing cards to all and sundry. It is only people who are bona fide registered contributing members who can access that card, because the card is not just an ID. It's not first and foremost an ID. If you have one, it is acceptable as a form of ID. Yeah?
Okay. Now, a question back to the walk. Someone is asking, can somebody register for me? The
Yes,
person is coming
somebody
in.
can register for you.
Yeah. Okay.
But you just have to ensure that the fee is paid.
And you tell us
Your
your
registration can only be confirmed after you have paid the registration fee.
And you have a number, of course.
Yes, so all the information concerning the payment of the fee is once you scan the QR or you access the link on the flyer or you call the office, we can give that to you. So there are two methods of paying the $25 fee. You can either pay it at our office or you can choose to do it on mobile banking, as Social Security is listed as a merchant on the mobile banking platform.
On the telephone, sorry about that. The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, and 449-3097, 616-4257. Some of the numbers you can call here. Those of you wanting to ask questions specifically to the guest here, and feel free to do so, okay? Let's see if we can go back to the telephone. Are you here, caller? Yes.
Yes, my good afternoon to you and your guest
Good afternoon to
in
you.
studio. You asked the gentleman one question: why don't they give a social security card at birth? He gave whatever answer. That's Dominica style. I used to be home, go by one last name. I had a social security card. I come to Dominica. If I wanted to make contribution, because I used to, I have another last name. Not even if I present my deceased husband death certificate, I cannot get Social Security to give me another card with the last name that I carry now. I went to do a transaction. I forgot my U.S. passport. I don't have a Dominica passport. When I went there, the girl said, just go to Social Security. Don't you have a Social Security card? I said, it's an old one. She said, well, just go to Social Security. They'll give you a card. When I went to Social Security, they want to give me the card on the old name that I no longer carry, and I cannot get one on my legal name. And whatever transaction I'm going to do, I can't get it done on Botswana because it's not on Botswana, it's on F, and I cannot get Social Security to give me a Social Security card with F. If I was to continue to pay the contribution and something would happen to me, and that's the issue, how are they going to get my money? Whoever's supposed to get my money, how are they going to get it? I cannot get an I or a card with F, even if I present a death certificate of my deceased husband, which of course I find it makes no sense for you to want me to put it on Botswana. I don't carry Botswana for a very long time. So what can I do?
A good question to you, Mr. John Baptist.
Mr. Etienne.
Mr. Etienne, sorry.
Okay, so you see, everybody wants you to do things to suit their particular situation. Things have to be done within certain standards. When a person registers with Social Security, they have to present certain documents that have to be the document that identify who they are, their date of birth, their proper name, and everything like that.
Mhm.
So your situation has changed. We cannot just change your name because you say your name changed. You have to be an official document saying how your name changed from what you were born with to what it is now.
So marriage
A marriage certificate. Now, if your husband is deceased, ready marriage certificate, we need a husband death certificate. We don't need a husband death certificate to put your name on his name. We need a document saying that you were married to that person, and that is why your name changed from your maiden name to your married surname. We need to see the marriage certificate. The marriage certificate is never cancelled. It says you were married on that date at that place, who officiated, who witnessed, whatever. That never is cancelled. You divorce, you remarry several times. You can present that marriage certificate every time, and it's just saying that at that point on that date you were married to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people, when they marry, they cannot wait to change their name, and they come and they change their name. They abandon their maiden name. And 2 years, last time I was telling somebody that 2 years, 3 years down the road, things turn sour. And they don't want to hear that name. But when they came to change, they abandoned their maiden name, and it's the married surname they wanted to add. And when something happens, they want to hear the name, so they want you to just change it for them. We have got a difficulty making change, but those changes have to be substantiated by official documents.
The situation you presented seemed like an emergency.
Your emergency cannot become our urgency. Things have to be done properly. Things have to be done properly. So we don't have a difficulty changing name, but bring the official document showing how your name changed from what you were born with to what it is now.
Hello, talk to me, yes?
Mark, good afternoon and good afternoon to your guest.
Yes,
Mark.
sir.
I know the gentleman might say, look who is talking. But Mark, it's getting me a little scared. Even if I want to join Social Security, it sounds a little combative. Is that true, sir?
You say you're sounding a little combative.
I'm just passionate about what we do. I'm just passionate, it's not combative. I'm just passionate, and we need to appreciate what it is that we are there to do.
Quickly, so after Maria, the God of the Spirit say, the World Bank give them a couple million, so I had to meet 8 requirements. So joining Social Security was just one of them. I joined Social Security. Up to now, I begging for my $6,666. All the money I spent joined Social Security to do all of that. Now my IDs have expired. So what would you recommend? Should I go and fight with the government or something? Tell me.
You see, we have an entitlement mentality in this place. We don't want the white man, but we want the white man's biscuit. So World Bank gave money and they were saying one of the conditions is that, but again, you just come and just sign up to be able to access the World Bank money. And at the end of it, you forget about it. And another situation comes up 3 years down the road. Another World Bank have to give money for them to take care of you. Whereas if you pay your contributions regularly, Social Security might be there for you to give you a benefit automatically because you're making the required contributions. So we need to appreciate in this place why it is that we have to do certain things and not expect people to have to do everything for us.
I would like to take another phone call, 449, this time of the overseas line. Are you there, caller? Yes?
Wait.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Mark.
Yes, I'm here, sir.
I have a question I want to ask the people from Social Security. This is not for me, but I've read stories where the people are working for the Chinese market, overworking the people overtime, weekend and all, and they don't get the time and a half pay. They don't get the right money that they should be getting. And also, what Social Security can do for the people, because we know the Chinese don't pay Social Security. How are the Social Security folks handle a case like that? I'm just asking for people who've been abused by that kind of labor. How that should be done.
What is the question here?
They basically,
I didn't hear everything clearly.
It's basically saying that the Chinese sometimes don't pay into Social Security for some of the workers. What would happen then?
Where we find out that the Chinese are engaging Dominicans and not paying for them, we pursue them to pay for those persons. We have a difficulty where Chinese may not pay for Chinese. And as I explained earlier, at the end of the day, if they do not pay, we do not owe them anything. But we want to make sure we at least protect our Dominican nationals who work for them. So we encourage people who work for employers to come to us and let us know that they're working, especially where they're deducting the contributions and may not be paying it to us. Make the inquiries. We will find out when we check the system. No contributions are being paid for. You tell us who you're working for, where the person is situated. We have field officers that we would send to investigate and take steps to recover those contributions.
Okay, where
and before you continue, that is why one of the things we say, the employees themselves have an obligation, because it is your contributions. You are the one who is going to receive benefit from Social Security down the line. So you have a responsibility to ensure that your contributions are being paid by your employers. How will you do that? You periodically check with Social Security to find out whether your employer is indeed making those contributions on your behalf. Don't accept the fact that your employer provides you with a pay slip at the end of the fortnight or at the end of the month and take it for granted that those contributions reach Social Security. It is not set in stone. You need to call the office. You need to come to the office, make an inquiry, find out if your employer is making those contributions on your behalf. And the ideal time to do that is while you are still working for that employer. So that if it is not being done, Social Security, as Mr. Etienne stated, has compliance officers who go out on the field. They will investigate the matter to get those contributions paid on your behalf. Don't wait when you fall out with the employer or when you're no longer working for that employer or when the business is closed has closed shop to make the inquiry to Social Security. Do it while you are working for the person. So if there are any gaps in your contribution, there are any missing contributions, Social Security can investigate the matter. And another thing, we encourage persons, don't go back to the employer and make noise with the employer and say, where is my money? You are deducting my money for Social Security. I want it. Why are you not paying it? You make the report to us. We have our officers who are very professional. They will investigate the matter. They will not divulge your name to the employer. They will not tell the employer you told us. They will professionally do the investigations to get the contributions paid on your behalf.
All right. Where in the law, somebody's asking, does it say it's a must to contribute to the Social Security? I think you've answered the question indirectly. It's not a must. You don't have to.
It is a must.
You know, in other words, if you're not working, you can contribute, right?
Some people may not be. Some people may not be working, but they may have resources. They can even choose to pay voluntarily. But certainly, anybody who is engaged in work for pay in Dominica, either they're working as an employee of somebody else or working for themselves, they are required to register and to have contributions paid into the program on their behalf. The person who is working for an employer, the employer is the agent of Social Security. The law holds the employer responsible for deducting and paying.
So there's law. There's law.
Everything we do is by law, you know.
The
Social Security Act and the regulations says everything that we do, how, why, and how we do not do what we do.
Okay, caller. So there's law that
Everything
says you
is
have
law.
to. Okay, thank you very much on the telephone. Yes? Yes, caller.
Yes, Matt.
Yes.
Mr. Etienne, I heard him made a statement a while ago, and I find that being a little rude. I'll tell you what. If I come to Dominica and I'm going to open a business, and one of the requirements would be for you to open the business, you would need to have an updated Social Security card. Are you telling me because I'm no longer making contributions to Social Security, but because I want to do the business and I need the card, I like the white man biscuit, but I don't like the white man? I find that very rude of you.
It was in that context I said this.
No, I don't think.
Okay,
you were referring to Blessings. I don't think you were referring to her. When you spoke,
I don't even know who the person is that called. I'm saying the person is making reference to World Bank monies. They asked him to register Social Security. What?
Yes.
I'm saying
it wasn't her.
No, it's not her. It's not her.
But when she asked a question about changing her name,
the name change.
That's what. But you didn't answer to her. You answered to Blessings earlier. So it wasn't. He wasn't speaking to you directly, ma'am. Okay, sorry. Hello, talk. Yes. Are you? Yes.
Documents. That's all I said.
Are you? Yes. I think she misunderstood. Sorry. Okay. I think he answered not to you, but somebody else. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Yeah, Matt, and please allow me. I will not be rude as that gentleman you have there. Quite combative and confrontational. I am saying, Matt, who is the white man, and which biscuit is he talking about? And look, the caller is picking it up the way he said it. Is it carried by the white man or the Labour Party or the World Bank? My brother, one of the requirements was to get a Social Security card. I never get the money. I never opened the business, so I could not have contributed. So can you please state it? Who is the white man and what is the biscuit? You see all you?
All right, caller. Thank you very much. On the telephone, let's move on there. 2:52 is the afternoon time. More telephone calls, yeah? Hello? Caller? Yes. Are you there?
Yeah, I want to be online.
Well, you're online. You're talking to me. So what do you mean? You know,
Okay,
yeah, go ahead. Yes,
all
caller.
right, so-
Yes.
Yeah. Matt.
I'm here, sir. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Matt, you see them men have been doing that to poor people for over years, you know.
What are they doing? What are they doing? Let me know.
Excuse me?
I'm asking you, what is it that they're doing that you're not
Yeah, I
pleased with?
find the man very defensive for true, and the man coming there like you want to battle for people. Listen to me. This is another institution that come to tax the people, you know, in Babylon. Babylon have been doing all that for years.
Caller, what's your point there? Hello, talk to me. 2:53 in the afternoon. Hello, talk to me. Yes, are you there, caller? Sorry, let's take another phone call. Are you there? Yes.
Matt,
Yes, sir.
I think I will add to what the other caller is saying. Your guess, he's somewhat he kind of rough.
You say he's combative. He said he's very passionate about what he does. That's what it is. Passionate, yes.
His passion is over passion. It's almost like passion fruit now. And to add insult to injury, it's like he cannot give us the real detail. He giving us the detail in a kind of broken way, and I cannot understand myself, to be honest with you. Have a nice day. Thank you.
All right, thank you. With the question as it relates to Mr. 18, really a question of Chinese not paying Social Security as an employee on the island, wouldn't that be a violation of the law? And if so, shouldn't the law be enforced, irrespective of whether the Chinese national will be there to receive Social Security benefits? So,
Yes, that's a concern. That's a concern.
Mhm.
Yes. The law, you have to be able to enforce the law, but sometimes you don't know what arrangements are in place with the, let's say, so I engage a firm to do a particular project for me. If I will engage in you to pursue that project for me, I give you certain conditions. Then if you stick in, they claim that they're working under certain conditions that they have with the person who engaged them. We cannot. Sometimes we're not seeing where that is coming from. We can get evidence, but unless you get the necessarily backup support from the powers that be, sometimes you just have to try your best to get them to comply. And as I say, the best we've been able to accomplish is to ensure that they pay for the Dominicans that they engage. They themselves not paying. If you don't pay, we don't owe them an obligation. As I said, it's the private system of contribution that should rightfully be getting. But because when you contribute, we owe you an obligation. If you're not part of the system, then we don't owe you anything.
Okay.
You
What
refer
about
to
the
that anything.
self-employed who worked with companies around the Dominica and presently is self-employed and have already made more than 25 contributions? How do you deal with that?
25 contributions?
Yeah, he says he's been working around the island and have made more than
Okay.
25.
The thing is, you're supposed to be paying contributions as you're working and earning.
Okay.
It's not that you make contributions and you stop. If you're not working for a period of time, the period you're not working, you're not earning anything, you're not required to pay contributions. You will be exempted from paying contributions for that period that you are not currently working and earning. Okay, so you work before several different places, you make contributions. You're no longer working for somebody else, you're working for yourself now. You're not pensionable yet. You can still pay contributions on your behalf to get benefit now if something happens to you while you're working now, or to enhance the pension you will receive at the end of the day, because your contributions to the system is cumulative. We're not just taking account of what you're doing now or what you did in the past. Every contribution that you make is going to be recorded against your name and number, so that at a future date, when you qualify for pension, we're looking at your total contribution history from the time you first registered up to the time you become pensionable. And all the contributions that you would have made in between would be taken into account.
All right, someone says, Martin, this is Mike Wallace. Whereas self-employed are not employees by definition, every employee, local or foreign, are obliged to pay Social Security contributions. That's his point there. Yeah?
That's the correct. Yeah.
That's correct.
That's the correct thing.
All right, 449-3095-9696. Are you there, caller?
Even
Yes?
non-nationals who are self-employed, they can pay contributions while they engage there.
Are you there, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
But that gentleman that is in the studio with you there is a very rude man.
Why would you say he's rude when he said he's only passionate?
You have to listen to people when you see people talking about what is affecting them. And if you do not know about World Bank money, you have to educate himself about the World Bank money before he come and talk about World Bank money.
All right, 449-3095-96. I suspect, Mr. 18, your passion has been missed.
That's okay. That's okay.
Hello, talk to me. Yes, are you there?
Yes, man, it looked like it's my lucky afternoon today. When I called a while ago, I was not referring to the question that I asked. I was referring to how he answered to blessings.
Okay.
Another thing is, even if the Chinese are no longer in Dominica, if you meet your credit, you can go to the end of the world, and when it's time, you can apply for your Social Security. If I live in the US, you entitled to a certain amount of credit. If I live because I work in Dominica, I am entitled to my Social Security in Dominica. I work here, I'm entitled to Social Security here. If I leave and I go to the French Islands and I am legal and I meet the credit requirements, no matter where it is, At the time when I will be eligible, I apply for my Social Security. So the thing about the Chinese in arrangements with whoever, that is just crap nonsense. Let them pay.
All right, 449. So she's saying make the Chinese play. 449-3095. We don't have too much more time. I'm going to allow for, my friends here to wrap up this afternoon. Being a fiery one, like a hot seat program this afternoon there. But let me allow you to wrap up because of time. Yes.
So, Matt, again, we want to commend the Social Security program to all Dominicans, those who are employed and working. Obviously, it's mandatory employees already deducting for you. If you are self-employed, and working for yourself, it is also mandatory for you to be contributing to Social Security. So if you are employed in the sector, in the informal sector, where you work for yourself or you are working online for companies in the US or wherever they may be, and you are paid into your bank account and so on, you're supposed to register as a self-employed person to continue to protect yourself. And we have a lot of people in this informal sector who were once working for employers in Dominica. So they're already in the system. They already have contributions with Social Security. Now is the opportune time for you to continue to make those contributions so that in the event something happens to you, things will always happen to us at one point in life. We just do not know when it is going to happen. But when that thing happens to you, you want to know that you are protected and Social Security is there to provide that benefit to you. So we want to encourage you to come on board, call in, find out about the Social Security program if you're a self-employed person. And again, just to mention that on the 29th of May, we are having our Health and Wellness Moonlight Walk. This is happening from 6:30 p.m. on the 29th of May. We are gathering on the Bayfront, walking to Champagne Beach, where we'll have some activities at the end of the walk, and we're encouraging persons to register for the walk. It is only $25 to register for the walk. The deadline is the 20th of May to do so. You can call our office to get more information. You can visit our Facebook page, access the flyers, scan the QR code, get the registration form, and register for the walk.
All right, Mr. Etienne, the final comments?
Okay, so since our focus this afternoon was supposed to be the growing informal sector, we want to impress upon those persons, especially those who worked before and moved from the formal sector where they're working for an employer and they move working online. They're still working and earning. They should be contributing to the system to enhance the benefit that they will get at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, because once you make contributions to the system has an obligation to you. And your contributions are cumulative. So as long as you contribute as long as you're working and you contribute, and the longer you contribute for is the higher the percentage of your earnings you're going to receive as your pension. Some people have the mistaken notion that, as the person a while ago said, they've worked for 25 and whatever, they still have to make contributions. The intention is not for you to just make contributions and stop, because the time you stop is the time something might happen to you. And you may not be able to access a benefit in the here and now because you're not currently contributing. But the contributions you make, because it is cumulative over time, when you get down the road, you become pensionable, everything will be taken into account to give you a better benefit the longer you contribute for. Because every contribution makes a difference. Because if you get there and you are short 1 week's contributions, there is no way the system can give you that one missing contribution to make you qualify for that pension. So we just want people to understand exactly how Social Security works, make it their business to understand. We are there to serve. We exist to do just what we're doing. It's not a favor we're doing anybody, but people have to appreciate the part that they have to play for Social Security to meet its end of the bargain towards them. And trust me, if you do what you have to do when you have to do it, Social Security has been doing this for 50 years, and we want to continue to do this for the foreseeable future. Keep our end of the bargain. Give you what we promise to give you when the time arises.
All right, folks, it was a pleasure. We'll see you sometime soon. Thank you very much. In June, probably. Thank you. Thank you.
Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do pay. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with social security. I said that. Social security. It put you know. Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do pay. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor pension secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are unpredictable. Don't take risks. You can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security. It put you know.
E pa bon, jete. Si pa bon, jete. I applied for a franchise from Toyota to make it cars just for Dominica. They have to be strong, but they must be cheap. Anybody can buy one, but you can't keep it. Naming all the different models is my biggest problem. So I ask people on the streets to suggest names for them. Well, here are the people. Toyota Forestry, Toyota Truly, Toyota Tony, blowing us the black smoke without a fan. Toyota See Me, Toyota Filbert, the people say they won after I'm bad away. But I selling them cheap. Away. You pas bon jeter, you pas bon jeter, pas même bon jeter, mais non. We talking about the lack of jobs in the country. Well, I coming out to boost the economy. The town will be hasty with all the black smoke. But even more lazy can stay home and work. Government is plenty. You know why? Policy that's very like to buy. Just hear his models. Toyota Ian, Toyota Duncan, Toyota Frankie. Money make it drive back and turn around. Toyota Kamala, Toyota Tina, one have a dent. They said they meet after the president. But I selling them cheap. I put away. You pas bon pour jeter, pas même bon pour jeter, et là. Aïe, aïe, aïe. For businessmen who easy to buy, they have money, so you have to wonder why. I'm making for pastors, for bishop and priests, even for foreigners who come here to do business. I'm making for folks like Kathy Henry and Peter Wickham, who lost their conscience, especially Caledonian. Just hear the models, Toyota Fronter, Toyota Dixie, Toyota Setter, that in and have no key. Toyota Senator, Toyota Comforter, one stick in reverse. They said they need Toyota Kelly the Ghost, but I selling them cheap, like Caraway. You pas bon pour jeter, pas même bon pour jeter. Professor, Truman, Sam, and don't forget I'm making police cast too. Pelham, Clemmil, one don't have no care. They say make it for the commissioner. What I selling them cheap, like we have away. You pas bon pour jeter, you pas bon pour jeter, pas même bon pour jeter. Et là. What's happening, man?